Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another Christmas movie review. And we'll be reviewing Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. I already did the original Home Alone movie review. That is already up on the YouTube channel. You can follow the links in the description if you want to follow my various channels. And check out that video as well and hear my thoughts on the film. This, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it's obviously not as good as the original, but still far better than any of the preceding sequels that came forth. And I just want to say this now. I think like a lot of people will agree because after the recent direct to streaming to Disney Plus of the last Home Alone movie that came out on that platform, because I didn't watch it. From what I hear, it's hot garbage. I think some people consider it better garbage than the fourth Home Alone film, but man, it's like it's one of those kind of movies, just like Back to the Future. It's where it's like there are certain movies that you just cannot recreate. It was like the first movie was like lightning in a bottle, and Home Alone 2 is just like retreading the same stuff, but it's just marginally still good enough to where people will still come back to it. But afterwards, people keep trying to hit the same beats, and it just does not work. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like with I'm about to say the Predator films, because they kind of went off the rails with those as well. But there's a new one coming out, but it's called Prey. I think it's like a prequel to the Predator franchise, which kind of looks dope. But in order to make that work, you obviously, because it's kind of like set in Native American era kind of situation, but it's like, to make the Predator stuff work nowadays, it's probably best to set up, like different time periods with different warriors, going through their little skirmishes, and then drop in a Predator in the middle of the conflict, and you instantly got like a pretty damn good story. Like you got do a Revolutionary War or Civil War and drop in a Predator in the mix. Or during like I think there was like a fan made thing where it's like medieval knights encountering a Predator, or during World War I or II, counting a Predator. You know, uh, there was like hints in. Well, I like Predators. It was like the film where some humans got kidnapped and taken to this alien safari preserve thing, and one of them encountered a samurai sword, which is like very old. So they actually been to medieval Japan. I think the first two Predator movies, and then Predators are like very good Predator movies. Everything else sucked. Now, with the whole Prey, I don't know when's that coming out, but that looks actually pretty damn good so far. But that still remains to be seen. Trailers can fool you into thinking something's gonna be good half the time. But yeah, so far, the first two Predator films and Predators are actually the good Predator movies. That being said, the Home Alone stuff, unlike Predators, you can't just set it in a different time frame or whatever like that. And this is, like I said, like Ghostbusters, that was a lightning in a bottle kind of movie. On paper, that should not have worked, but it worked. Home Alone, same thing, lightning in a bottle. And just like with Ghostbusters sequel, it's just good enough to let it stand, and people can actually go into it and and let certain faults of the film slide because the actors involved are so charming. But after that, I know there's like Ghostbusters Afterlife that came out a month ago. I haven't seen that yet. I'm probably have to wait till it's streaming to check that out and do a review for that. But From what I'm hearing, that was actually good, but it's just certain movies that you just cannot touch, and you might get lucky, like with Ghostbusters Afterlife. When a movie is like, it's so many years since the original that you just manage to make it good enough to make it successful. But it's just the odds are so stacked against a director from doing that. It's just some movies you just cannot you just gotta leave it alone, let it be. It's just because they even have to, in this movie, they even have to figure out a way. Well, even still, like, nobody can. Well, they still managed in a way to keep Kevin from trying to reach out to them, because we still don't have cell phones yet. But they couldn't reach Kevin because he's not back at home. So, once again, the family are still being like jerks to Kevin, specifically the older brother, more so this time around, when they was in this pageant play, and the older brother was messing with Kevin the whole time, and it's like causing the crowd to laugh at him during his solo, where he's because he kind of got wide ears, so he put these little fake candles up to it's kind of like light bulbs to make it look like lit candles, and they he puts it up behind his ears to make it like shine and stuff like that, and people are laughing, and the parents are right in the crowd, and it's like, of course, Kevin like retaliated and punched Buzz, which caused everybody. It's like comically pratfall kind of stuff, and it's like most of those people should not fell down like that, honestly. And it's like it was. I don't even know if it's even funny on that one level. It's just like, I don't know. It's like I said. It's like lame slapstick, but at home he gives this, the older brother gives this like faux apology, and then whisper like to Kevin, like pretty much tell him to eat it kind of situation. And Kevin just like lashes out, talking about like hey, he's faking apology, and it doesn't freaking mean it. And of course the family just eats it up, and it's like, man, this family sucks. And I kind of hope Kevin grows up to just live on his freaking own, and like he has a family of his own. He learns the mistake of his family and treats his own kids better. That's what I hope, because given the fact that how shitty this family is, I mean, they're not shitty in terms of not say supporting. It's just like making sure the kids taken care of, and they still love them, of course. But it's just aspects like this makes a kid resent maybe not the whole family, but definitely the parents, given the fact that there's certain things that the parents do. No parents are perfect, but you gotta be mindful of what you say to your kid, because that can stick with them. I'm pretty sure we all been in that position where it's like your parents say something to you that kind of sticks with you, and that was like they kind of cross a line. And I certainly have that. I got plenty of that for spades, or in spades, where like there's been times my stepmother said like some really shitty stuff when I was younger that she have yet to take back, because definitely crossed the line and really effed up. And it's like we all been in Kevin's shoes. I mean, it's like it's hard for me to like. I mean, I wouldn't go around making sadistic ass Jigsaw level traps like you see on Saw, like he does. But it's just, I understand his animosity and want to just be like, just steer clear of this freaking family. And of course, Kevin wishes he just like just be alone. And then the mom just like, I don't know, it was just like just spur in a moment situation. But the fact that she just says like, well, you got your race last year, maybe you'll get it this year. And it's like, dude, what the? I mean, like I said, it might be in a moment, but you take a second, like a breathe, and you think about, for a second what you just said to. I don't know how old Kevin is at this point. It's like, let's give it like a generous 11. I'm pretty sure he's 11, and you pretty much, like, with this whole zero fucks given, like, well, like, you might as well just tell him, like, well, you might as well be alone kind of situation. You might just had said that to your youngest kid, which he will remember that probably for the rest of his life. And because this kid probably going to need some serious freaking therapy, honestly. Of course, they end up retreading the whole situation while, like, not setting alarm clocks. They running late, but at least they got Kevin along with them to the airport. However, they still lose track along the way while they're rushing through a crowded airport. Which, by the way, if you planning a trip, because this time instead of Paris, they're going to Miami. Like, that's like a downgrade from Paris to Miami. They need to stop taking fucking trips first and foremost. But, like, if you're taking a trip, why go freaking Miami? On the holidays, because I agree with Kevin when he mentions how stupid it is to go to Miami out of all places for Christmas and to spend Christmas at. And it's like, and the place that he's shacked up at, it's like some rinky-dink ass motel. I don't know if there was, like, actually, I can't remember if it was actually a plan. It's kind of like when they find out they don't have Kevin, they have to, like, shack up at some place in the meantime until, like, they get like a plane right back home. But it's like, you choose like a very weird option to go to. Places like Miami, or like if you go to Hawaii or something like that, it's a place where people, like, who don't have families, or like single bachelors or whatever like that, they want to go to someplace hot and want to hit up like the singles bar, whatever like that, and these like cool places where there's barely any families while they're they at home usually celebrating the holidays in the winter kind of like setting. You can at least go to some kind of like winter cabin, so you can still have like a nice holiday festive appearance in the landscape. But you're going to a sunny area, and it's like, unless you live there, that is so lame for like a Christmas trip. But then you talk to the kid this way, and it's like, it's so odd of a parenting from her. I think it's like, people give me, I don't know about you guys, and some people might disagree, but I think Kevin Mcallister's parents are probably one of the worst parents in movie history. Honestly, one of them, maybe not the worst, but they definitely in the top 10, probably in the bottom 10, but they up there as far as like just losing the kid twice. But just the way in the beginning of these films, the way they talk with him, and then like having these families talk to the way they talk to him, is just so effed up. So he's in New York. He boarded a plane to New York instead of and this is pre 9/11. Of course, like airports a little were gone are the days of more lax airport travels. But he boarded a plane for New York while the rest went to Florida. So luckily he had his father's back, because he was looking for batteries for his like little recorder. And of course, when he realized, he used his father's credit card, which his family didn't think he knows how to use. But you should know your kid by this point, given the fact that what he went through last year about defending your own house by himself, setting up freaking traps. You should, be more than aware, or at least take the assumption that he probably knows how to use a credit card. And so he rented out a room with his father's credit card at this fancy Plaza Hotel, which, Of course, you get the scene when he runs into Donald Trump in the hallway. Fuck that guy and his fucking family, except for his niece, who's probably the only one who got some fucking sense out of that whole entire family. But, you know, Don Trump is like, Donald Trump is like just piece of shit by all accounts. But then it's like hindsight's 2020. We didn't know back then what we know now. Things have definitely changed throughout the years. But every time you see him, like those feelings creep up. Fuck that guy. Anyway, then he meets, the great Tim Curry. And, well, he doesn't meet him directly. We see Tim Curry with Rob Schneider. And, of course, Rob Schneider, out of the movies he's in, this and Demolition Man, he sucks the least. Or at least actually is funny in this. Because, like, I can't recall many Rob Schneider movies where actually, I think I liked him in The Animal. But I liked him in this and Demolition Man. Well, that's probably like the only three that comes to mind where I actually like Rob Schneider and something. He actually, is funny, without forcing it or being stereotypically racist like he usually is in most Adam Sandler movies. Which I don't put it all on him. It's just like this weird choices that, you'll think by after the mid 2000s he would probably cut that crap out. But anyway, he using a recorder, he tricked, the customer service to book the room. So he got himself a nice room with a fridge full of like all these treats, which as a kid you will love. I mean, it's like a cool room to yourself. You can see out to I think Central Park and everything like that, which he visits, then runs into this homeless lady with all these pigeons, which freaks Kevin out. And to be honest, I probably would freak out too at his age. I mean, like, he's a total stranger, and like, if the birds don't freak you out, because some people are afraid of birds, if the birds don't freak you out, this look that she gives you and these weirdos in New York, and it's like, of course you will freak the hell out as a kid, and especially when you're by yourself and you just taking a stroll, and then you bump into something that's like bizarre looking at first. You don't spend the time to stop to say hi, honestly, because be real. But anyway, you then see Harry and Marv come back. They escape custody and hitch the ride to New York, trying to get the next job done, which they plan on robbing the big toy store, which they plan on using the what do you call those things? Proceeds. Using the proceeds for the children's hospital. And of course, Kevin, is being New York, somehow it's like people would just bump into each other willy nilly. He bumps into Harry and Marv. Of course, he gets away. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. It was like a funny moment in during the hotel stuff where, like, for some reason, I don't know why, but given the fact that Kevin, in all honesty, at least at the time, was pretty smart, where it's like, he used his recorder, which is kind of, well, that part is, dumb, where it's like he just slows down his own record to make it sound like this, and no man talks like this, and it's like the customer service rep on the phone just buys that dopey voice, and it's like you would think something was amiss, and somebody's like at the very least prank calling you, but he still managed to book a room. Then he goes to the front desk to talk to this lady, who kind of looks like Morticia without the goth look, and hands her his father's card. And of course, she is a little suspicious. Like, a little kid's coming up trying to like request the room. But he mentions like, well, my father's like in a meeting right now. He just sent me here with my card and want me to just stay in the room, so I don't get in trouble and that kind of thing. Which, I mean, maybe it was a good idea to like follow up on that, which she did mention, like, she make sure like she sees the fathers, make sure like checks in with us kind of situation. But that at least at that time you would think like, okay, it's legit. And he got this card. No kid would have this credit card, and especially a kid that's young. If it's like a teenager, you might give it a second glance because teenagers can easily steal stuff and try to pull all kinds of crap. But as an 11-year-old, you wouldn't really think that 11-year-old would pull stuff like this or be smart enough to pull something this elaborate. So I was like, go ahead, which Kevin just, spend time in the facilities and what have you. But then you got Tim Curry, the concierge, for some reason feeling like suspicious. Why are you feeling suspicious? How many kids you see coming in and out of this place all the time? Are you suspicious of all of them all the time? Just because you see them alone for at least once? I mean, because I would understand if he take notice that every time he sees Kevin, he's never around his supposed father, who's supposed to be on business in New York. He never comes into the front door or whatever. And it's like I see you alone all the time. Like, where's your father? It's like, it just comes to him like, a kid, instead he chose to snoop on the kid rather than come to the kid directly. Maybe after the second or third time when he sees the kid by himself, that would probably be played more smartly. Then, after the third time and he still doesn't see him, the kids, still making excuses for why it's, he's still having like, have his father check in with them kind of situation. Then you can have like a little Snoopy thing going on. But no, he went straight to snooping on this kid. Then you get this funny scene where it's like, Kevin has this like big blow up doll and like the recording of his uncle telling like, you get out of here, you little pervert, or I'll slap you silly. And it's like, of course, Tim Curry is awesome in a lot of stuff. I mean, he's just a great actor. And I think my favorite role of all time that he was was in the movie Clue, I think like late 80s. And man, I think that was the first time I ever seen Tim Curry in anything. I think this is the first one. I think Clue was the first one, then this, then the third time was in Scary Movie 2. It was like the three that came to mind in my earliest memory of seeing Tim Curry. And of course, I don't think I ever recalled his name at that time. I just knew he had that one of those faces. But, I just remember him just being one of the funniest moments, in these films. Then, of course, he requested like a limo with like a big, large cheese pizza so he can ride around the neighborhood and stuff like that. He visited a toy store and met up with the owner, Mr. Duncan. He mentions about the children's hospital and the donations and stuff like that. And Kevin makes a donation, impresses Mr. Duncan. He gave him like 2 turtle doves, one to give to a friend and one for him to keep kind of situation. I think this plays out better than the old man sequence in the previous film where like, I buy this more than I won't say I didn't buy, the whole somber moment between like a old man who reconciled with his son and granddaughter. But this one's, I don't know, hits better than that personally. But then that's when you see Kevin run into Harry and Marv again. But then he manages to get away. Then, of course, while Tim Curry's double checking like the credit card situation, realize that it's been marked as stolen, thanks by the parents who recognize that Kevin took the card, and they make sure it's flagged so they will know where it's being used, so that way they know where to go. So stupidly, Tim Curry's like, very like malicious, trying to get a hold of this kid, like he's about to kidnap him or something, and stuff like, making sure he's like calmly, letting the kid know, or at least don't let on, like he's in trouble or anything like that. Just make sure he's content, and like that way you can ease him down until his parents arrive, kind of situation. But it's stupid on Kevin's part, despite his mature behavior half the time. It was stupid on him not to, like, after he's being chased by Harry and Marv, the guys that he helped put away, he could have just stayed with these guys, because lesser of two evils, at least the hotel people won't kill you, as these two probably would. So he's still trying to get away. But leads to one of my favorite scenes on the movie. Still cracks me up to this day, where it's like he plays that black and white noir movie again, and you get like at least a sequel to the one that played in the original film. And it's like it's just like the level of disgust. The other employees look at Tim Curry when it's like the thing plays, like, you've been smooching with my brother. You've been smooching with everybody. Mo, Cliff, and then it's like a security guard with the name Cliff on his name tag, and everybody just looking at him. And Rob Schneider's face throughout the whole entire thing kind of sells it with just the utter disgust. And it's like he just rattled off those names. You've been smooching with everybody. Oh, and it's like, it's childish. God help me, it's childish. But every time I see it, it's the favorite part of the film, and I get a laugh every time. It is just golden. And then, and he gets everybody to say, like, I love you. I believe you, but my Tommy God don't. And then it's like, they all, running out the room, hearing like, loud gunfire, but it's from the TV. And it's just, it was just like hilarious. But then Kevin runs out the back of the hotel. They get caught by Harry and Marv, who somehow just anticipated that he'll run out of the back for some reason. And, but Kevin ends up making an escape again. Then he runs. He has nowhere to go at this point, so he ends up, going around late at night at Central Park, looking at all these creepy people. And it's like, you see these hookers, like, you need me to read you a bedtime story? And it's like, this is a little kid. And it's like, you meet strange people in big cities sometimes, most notably in New York, but you see a little kid wandering, you don't be creepy to him. Your first instinct is wondering, like, yo, kid, where's your parents? Like, you guys, like, you need help or something like that. Say, but don't like, watch it, kid. It's like, Jesus Christ, what are these people? And I kind of feel bad because I don't think like they're supposed to represent what New Yorkers are generally. But then he runs into the homeless lady with the pigeons, but he's actually spent the moment to actually talk with her actually. And then he goes to a Carnegie Hall, like in this like rafters, and start talking. And she regales him of her past and how she ended up like this. And she told me she fell in love, but the guy she loved fell out of love with her, distraught, and I guess she got so distraught she became homeless. And it's like, even as a kid, that did not something was amiss with that. It's like lots of people fall out of love. They don't end up homeless. I mean, unless it probably would have played better if she was so in love and then she got so distraught after he left her. She went to drinking, maybe, and because of her alcoholism or maybe gambling addiction or something like that, that left her poverty stricken. Those two would have played just perfectly fine and all would line up in perfect sequence. But they didn't have that. It is like, oh, I fell out of love and I'm homeless now. That really didn't make sense. It never did make sense. And it's like, it's a missed opportunity to actually say something about like the homeless situation back then. But I don't know. I don't know what the line of thinking was back then, because this was still directed by Chris Columbus, and Chris Columbus normally knows how to make great writing, and it's like, and at least you usually have like good writers on his side, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's like in a DVD, commentary or something, like will mention something about that little part, like it was like a missed up on their part kind of situation, or if they wanted to add in something but it was cut out, something or other. But I don't know. But then Kevin leaves and sees like the walks by the well, this is long after like Marv like stupidly spilled the beans on their robbery plans of the toy store's proceeds. And at this point, Kevin walks by the children's hospital, see this kid waving at him and stuff like that. And then it's like, nobody mess with kids on Christmas. And then he goes to his relatives, one of his relatives' renovated homes, and he sets up a trap, then runs to the toy store to sees Harry and Marv robbing it. And then it's actually a low-key funny moment where like Kevin's taking a picture of like the evidence of them robbing the place, and there was a moment when Kevin's like, say cheese, you see Marv actually posing. And it's so stupid. And I was like, oh my god, that was like, I forget to mention the comedic styles of between Daniel Stearns and Joe Pesci, and it's really, really good. These two pair well together. I don't think it gets much love, honestly, like they should. But then it's like a moment when they hop out of because Kevin breaks the glass with a rock, with a note attached warning Mr. Duncan about like the theft, but it sets off the alarm. Then Harry and Marv go jump out the window to go give chase. And then it's like a little platform thing, Kevin set up where Harry lands first, and then Marv, because he's taller, lands second, and pops a short, stocky Joe Pesci high into the air for some reason. Like, is Marv like the Hulk when he got like added strength to let send this guy flying as high as he went, and then landing on top of the car as hard as he did? It's like, I mean, they fell short of cartoonist antics in this movie. And it's like, come on, dude, like realistically, I mean, like, I get it. I can buy, because Marv is taller and, bigger, not by weight, but just size compared to Harry. And I buy some leap in logic, if you will, into sending Harry flying, but not that high. Maybe high enough where, he, flips and careens against the car. But not, I guess it wasn't as funny as actually sending him flying and careening down on top of the car. But that's just me. But then follow Kevin to the abandoned building, and then he's on top of the roof, and like, he's trying to broker a deal with the kid because they in a rush. Like, you give me the camera, we'll leave you alone. You'll never see us again. And then he started chucking bricks. And I was like, this is the start of the trap sequence at this point. He started chucking bricks, straight up chucking bricks at them. And at least 4 of them, like it was 4 of them that, missed Harry and hit Marv directly in the head. You see like 4 dents, brick dents on his forehead. And it's like, when the first one hit, concussion, he's knocked the fuck out at the least. The next 3, that dude's fucking dead. There's no way he should be alive after all that. Even when as a kid, I thought like, shouldn't he be dead? Or at least unconscious, at the very least. But then, like, they, decided to go. Harry goes in the back way. Marv goes in the front. Then, like, Marv getting, like, a nail gun or a stapler gun to his rear end, and then his crotch, and then to his nose. And it's like, God damn. To his crotch alone, that oh my God, that was painful. It's like it's hard to watch half the stuff in this movie because this is straight up ruthless. If this could easily have been a horror movie, honestly. And of course, you get Harry getting like a bunch of like tools falling down on top of his head, and then it's like a moment when it's like another blowtorch hit on top of his head, and then it's like literally like quick, light up on fire. It's like a fire on top of his head, and then he's freaking out, and he's no water coming through the sink, and then he sees, of course, Kevin pour it was a gasoline in the toilet, so he assumes it was water and dunks his head in there and left this mini explosion. But I'm thinking like to myself, like, shouldn't he smell the gasoline before he even enters that bathroom? But I guess he just doesn't care because the fire on his head, so he just instinctively just did it just to put it out. But he should probably be dead more than likely, or at least suffering 3rd-degree burns. Because like I said, like in the last film, the first few minutes trying to enter this room, I would have been cut out and cut my losses. F this. This kid is psycho. And he's getting off on this at this point. And then Marv, getting electrocuted on the sink and everything like that because it's wired to a power battery. And this is like you're getting hit by like a falling sandbag. It's a sandbag or a cement bag or something like that, or like quick mix cement baggy thing. And it's like hairline fracture, unconscious, or dead. One of these 3 things should be happening to these guys, but they're powering through. But then they start catching on, like okay, we get this point. So they go up the stairs and they're anticipating these paint cans flying down like before. So the first 2 miss. So they think like, okay, it was only 2 last time. Let's move forward. Then here comes this like big bar, black little steel barbell thing. It's not a barbell, but it's like this big metal rod, this huge thick metal rod, and he just throws it over the banister, and it just knocks these dude right down in the hole in the middle of the floor, right into the basement. And he cuts the lines to this metal thing, and it falls down and just falls down and lands right on top of them. It's like dead. They are dead. But they manage to climb back up and follows him to the roof where he already climbed down. And then as soon as they try to climb down the rope, they realize the rope was, dipped in kerosene. So Kevin lights the thing on fire, and then of course they end up falling down into like this whole like area where they're supposed to be painting like the lower area. So like a bunch of, I think, paint thinner falls on top of them. So this is actually a rare moment where Kevin got a taste of his own medicine, and he slips and falls on his ass thanks to some ice. And then Harry and Marv manage to catch up, leading to the middle of Central Park, trying to shoot the kid at this point. Pull out a gun. It's kind of, all liquidy because of the paint that fell on top of them. But then here comes a homeless woman throwing bird seeds on top of Harry and Marv, where a bunch of pigeons distract them, giving enough time for Kevin to let off fireworks to signal any surrounding police in the area or anybody in the area to come by to stop Harry and Marv, which they end up getting arrested. And Kevin, goes to Rockefeller Center to watch the tree, makes some kind of, redonkulous wish about wishing to see his mom again. Mom managed to, make it to New York, and realizing that Kevin's always wanted to see, just likes seeing Christmas trees around this time. So she quickly assumed that he'll be at the Rockefeller Center to see the biggest tree in the city. So that's where they meet up, and the family meets up in New York, at the hotel. Which, by the way, once they meet, the parents get to New York and meet Tim Curry, the concierge, and as Tim Curry mentioning, rightly so, about the dangers out there in the city at night, she slaps him, and for years, since I was a kid, that never sat right with me. Why would you slap him? First and foremost, when he's probably right, you could just yell at him at the most, about I'm looking for my son. I don't care what's out there. They better look out for me. I would have found that appropriate, given the fact that as the mother, she don't give a damn. She want to find her son. But slapping him for putting out something that's factual, and it's aside from that, you're slapping a grown ass man, which he can probably, call the cops on you for assault, essentially. And besides, no person, I don't care how distraught a mother is looking for a kid, you're not putting your hands on me or anybody or anything like that, because there's security right there. They would have got a hold of you right away, kind of situation. But Tim Curry just stood there and took it, and then he started tearing up, and it's that never sat right with me. The security right there should have gotten a hold of her, or at least somebody should have stood in between. And because she slapped him twice, that's the thing. And that I never understood the logic behind that. That seems so. That's probably the most unrealistic thing to me, honestly. Because if I was Tim Curry, I was like, lady, don't put your hands on me ever again. I will call the cops on you. I understand you're. She slapped me once. It wasn't gonna be a second time. I was like, ma'am, you put your hands on me again, I will call the cops on you. I understand you're distraught over your kid, but I'm just pointing out, a factual thing. Okay? Because, anybody over here can easily run up on you, rob you, whatever like that. You don't know what's out there like that. I'm from here. You are not. And it's that kind of thing. It's just that kind of thing just bugged me. But it ends with, because Mr. Duckins, appreciates Kevin's assistance with preventing all the proceeds from being stolen. He provided an already rich-ass fucking white middle-class family with a bunch of more presents in the hotel room. And then Kevin goes out to the middle of Central Park to see the homeless lady and gave her one of the turtle doves as a sign of friendship between the two of them. Then, of course, the dad gets the bill, and you hear him shouting out, "Kevin, you spent $900 for room service!" And then the movie ends with Kevin running. And like I said, it's not as good as the first one, but it's still, it's still up there with still good enough to warrant it to be right with the original. Because afterwards, the Home Alone stuff became shittier and shittier and stupider, to the point it's not even, the kid who's supposed to play the Kevin role is not even clever, and there's no nuance to him at all. He's supposed to be this spunky kid, who gets wise to somebody trying to break into their house. It's there was a story behind the Home Alone 1 and 2, where it's there's a reason he's alone, and like it's already set in the 90s, early 90s, whereas like cell phone ain't readily available. But even then, they just get a pass because the power lines come out, so they can't call the house phone. But it's just like, that's why you just can't recreate this. 1 and 2 should be like the only two movies left in like in this Home Alone franchise, and leave it be. You can't recreate it. Give up, Hollywood. You're not going to make it happen. It's like trying to make Fetch happen. It's not going to happen. But that is my review for Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this film and the original. Like, what your likes and dislikes about it. Follow me in the links in the description if you want to follow me on the various channels. I stream almost every day. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll try to get up on what's the next thing I want to do? Definitely want to do Elf next. But what is the next one? What's it? I keep forgetting. Oh, Elf and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is the next two things I want to do tomorrow. And so stay tuned for that. Then it's going to be like day by day. I want to try to at least try to get it done, because if I get let me double check here. I do of Christmas Vacation, then do these two the next day. Yeah, I mean, I can afford to spend time tomorrow. Well, yeah, I can probably get everything done just in the nick of time with all my Christmas movies I want to do for at least this year so far, and at least before Christmas, so I can manage to make the quota, as you might call it. So yeah, but I still need to make some time to play some more Halo Infinite and get back to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. But I want to probably just, maybe I can get to it, because since I'm off on Christmas Day, after my morning Christmas unwrapping and stuff like that, and making like a few calls to wish people Merry Christmas and blah blah blah, I'll get right into playing some more of that. Definitely Friday, then Saturday. Thursday will probably be the final wrap up, because I'm going to see Spider-Man No Way Home again, the second time, because everybody I know already seen it the second time, which is, holy crap, it's so good, and I actually do want to see it again. And this is the second time, this is the second movie that I've seen more than once in a theater, which I really do not do. The last movie I did this for was Black Panther, because it was that good too. So I'm going to see No Way Home on Thursday morning. But I also want to do a review for Matrix 4. I'll probably have to squeeze some time in for that. Because I'm going to have to watch it on streaming, unfortunately. Because I don't want to go crazy at the movie theater right now. But luckily it's also streaming on HBO Max. If it wasn't, then I'll probably have to force my hand to actually go to the theater, because I actually do want to see Matrix 4. So stay tuned for the Matrix 4 review at some point this week. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.